Welcome to the Nerds and Nonsense Fantasy Football Friendly Focus for week two. I know I didn't do week one, I was busy, things came up. I'm going to try to be more consistent on doing these videos about once a week, probably before game time on Thursday to help you guys out. If you guys need any help, I'm gonna I'm gonna do things a little bit differently though. I'm gonna go through each game and tell you what players you probably should be starting. I'm not gonna know all the players, but probably the main ones that you should know, and if ones that are up and coming, I'll definitely know which ones those are because I'll be looking on the waiver wire for those guys as well. So let's just get right into it. So for the first game, it's going to be tomorrow. Is going to be the Chargers and the Chiefs. So of course, you're definitely going to for the Chargers. You're definitely going to start Herbert, Eckler. I wouldn't start Kelly or anybody else as running back. Probably just Eckler for sure because he's starter. With Keenan Allen out, that's going to be different. Mike Williams is definitely a start. I have him on my team, of course, so hopefully he gets me a lot of points. A player that came up real well was yeah, I forgot his name. DeAndre something. I'm sorry, I forgot. But him and Joshua Palmer. I think it was DeAndre Carter. I think yes, he did really well. Also, Jordan Palmer should get some more, and Jalen Guyton, and also tight end Gerald Everett. He got involved in the game a lot, so definitely a start for all those offensive guys. For the Chiefs, Mahomes, no brainer, of course. Clyde Edward-Helaire, and the only wide receiver I would really trust for the Chiefs is Juju Smith-Schuster for right now. The other guys are kind of like a mixed bag, so it'd be kind of like a coin flip to pick either any one of those other guys, and Travis Kelce for sure. Chargers defense probably wouldn't start him. Chiefs defense probably wouldn't start him either. I believe the kicker for KC is hurt, so we're not sure. That might be a game time decision. See if he's going to come in and kick or not. But go with the kickers for sure. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. Defenses, well, and I reiterate, probably don't start any of the defenses. So that's it for the Chiefs and Chargers game. Next game is going to be Dolphins and Ravens. So on the Dolphins, wouldn't recommend starting Tua. He's going to a hostile environment with the Ravens. Probably not going to get many opportunities to throw the ball. That goes for all the wide receivers like Tyreek Hill and Waddle. They're probably going to be covered really well. Maybe some garbage time touchdowns, but I guess if you have Tyreek, but if you have a better option, then start them. I wouldn't start anybody in the run game. Chase Edmonds probably wouldn't start. Gesicki tight end wouldn't start. Dolphins defense might make it interesting. They might keep this game a low scoring game. So I suggest maybe start them if you can. I might think about picking them up because I have New Orleans defense and I'm not going to use them. So I'm thinking about it. On the Baltimore side, Lamar Jackson, of course, should probably start. He's at home. The running back situation, I'm not sure on that. Um, let's see. The wide receivers, definitely start them. Of course, Mark Andrews start them as well. I think they'll get points. Maybe one or two of them might score, but probably low to mid scoring game. Not going to be a high scoring game at all. So Baltimore defense, I would suggest picking them up, starting them. They're going to be at home. I think they're going to give Tua a lot of problems that day. So there goes for the Dolphins and the Ravens. So the next game is going to be the Jets and the Browns. This one is going to be a tricky one. So both teams are kind of like mid to average. So for the Jets, I believe Flacco is starting again. So for the Brees Hall and Michael Carter, the running backs, if you have a better option, I say start them, but I say don't because it's at Cleveland. So I think Cleveland defense is pretty underrated. Same with Elijah Moore. So I would clearly stay away from a lot of the Jets offense. Of course, Jets defense, don't start them. Browns, Brissett, probably not. Amari Cooper, possibly. Um, Chubb and Hunt, probably, yeah, they'll probably rely on the run game a lot. Njoku, I'm not sure. So it's probably going to be really run run oriented, and the defense is actually going to get a lot of turnovers. So so the next game is also another tricky game. It's going to be the Commanders and the Lions. So Carson Wentz surprised a lot of people last week. Did really well. So hopefully that trend keeps up. He's got a lot of weapons in Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, and now Jahan Doxson came out of nowhere. So he's got a lot of weapons there too. So I would actually, if you need a streamer quarterback and you don't have a better situation, I would suggest picking up Carson Wentz this week. All the wide receivers I suggest start. Logan Thomas probably start as well, and Antonio Gibson. Actually, he surprised me. He didn't do this well for me last year, but this has only been one game so far, but definitely worth a start as well. And the defense, they gave up a lot of points to Jacksonville, which is a team that's not very good. So I wouldn't suggest picking up their defense. So for the Lions, I golf. Yeah, I think they play really hard. So Amon-Ra Brown, start him as well. I'm not sure the status on DeAndre Swift. If you can get Jamal Williams, get him. I wouldn't suggest the Lions defense at all. But I think it's going to be a high scoring game. If you have a lot of those offensive players for either team, I would suggest starting them. So the next game is going to be the Colts and the Jaguars. So I think Matt Ryan's going to have a better game this week. Definitely start Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, Mo Alley Cox. And if you have the Colts defense, I suggest you start them. They're a really good defense. I think they'd give Trevor Lawrence a lot of problems. For the Jacksonville Jaguars, I wouldn't suggest starting Trevor Lawrence. He's kind of might get you some garbage time points, but if you have a better option, pick somebody else. Christian Kirk and other wide receivers, probably not. I would only trust maybe James Robin and Travis Etienne as the running backs. Jacksonville defense, I don't think you should ever start them any week at all. So the next game is going to be the Buccaneers and the Saints. So this one's going to be a tricky one as well. For Tom Brady, I don't suggest you should start him. I know he's probably the greatest of all time, but for the last couple of seasons when Tom Brady's been with the Buccaneers, they've had issues against the Saints, and they played pretty well last week against the Cowboys, but they only scored about like one touchdown. So if you have someone else, or you can pick up a streamer like Carson Wentz or somebody else, I would bench Brady this week for sure. Mike Evans, of course, he's the number one target. He's definitely going to get some looks. So Chris Godwin is out. He has a hamstring injury. He's going to be out for a couple weeks. So if you could pick up Julio Jones, Russell Gage, they could probably help you out. But he might spread the ball out a lot. So, and also there's Cameron Brate. But I'm hoping that Leonard Fournette plays because he's on my team. So definitely start Fournette if you have it. He's been playing really well. For the Saints, Jameis Winston's played pretty well last week against the Falcons, but that's against the Falcons. This is going to be a lot tougher defense. I think the Bucks proved why they're one of the best teams in the league. So I wouldn't start Jameis Winston against the Bucks. Kamara probably, because he can also catch the ball. Michael Thomas showed that he's Michael Thomas of old. So I would start those two. Maybe, I don't know, it could be a mid-scoring game. I'm not exactly sure, but those guys are just too good to bench. So, but I would bench Jameis Winston for sure. And then when it comes to the Saints defense, probably not. They probably won't be able to stop Tom Brady. I mean, maybe a couple times, but not enough. So I suggest that you would bench the Saints defense. All right, the next game is going to be the Panthers and the Giants. So this game is going to be pretty interesting. The Giants surprised a lot of people by beating the Titans last week. I think the only player that really did well on that end was Saquon Barkley, so definitely fire him up for sure. Tony, we'll have to wait and see on that one. Same with Sterling Shepard. Um, if you, there could be good flex spots. I wouldn't start him in the starting position. Daniel Jones, I wouldn't recommend it. Probably have to see a couple more games out of him. Giants defense, definitely don't start for sure. When it comes to the Panthers, Baker Mayfield actually played pretty well last week. I think he's going to do well again this week, and I suggest you start DJ Moore if you have him, and Robbie Anderson, who I picked up. Um, Probably going to do really well. Same with Christian McCaffrey. So I think a lot of the offensive weapons for the Carolina Panthers are going to do well. Carolina defense, I think it's kind of like a trap. I wouldn't pick them up to start. It's going to be at the Giants, so this is going to probably be a mid to high scoring game. So that's going to be good for anyone that has players for both teams. So the next game is going to be the Patriots and the Steelers. So Mac Jones is dealing with back spasms, and he's hurt. So I think they're really going to Steelers defense after what they did to Joe Burrow last week. And now they're at home. I think they're going to harass him all day. He's not going to have any chances to throw it. So I would suggest staying away from any New England wide receivers or tight ends. I don't think he's going to get a chance to throw. When it comes to running backs, Damian Harris, love you here on my team, and Stevenson, it's going to be tough. If they can't throw it, then they probably won't be able to run it. So I would highly suggest probably not starting anybody on the offensive side for the Patriots. The defense might be worthy to take a look at. It's going to be against Trubisky. I mean, if it was a Big Ben, then I definitely wouldn't suggest starting him. That's kind of a coin flip. I mean, I have Patriots defense too. I'm still debating. I'm going to look into it. Probably wait to the last moment, but this one might be pretty low scoring game. Depending, the defenses might just keep it very low scoring. So when it comes to the Pittsburgh side, Trubisky played well last week, but I don't expect it to really continue. So probably wouldn't start Trubisky. Same with Deontay Johnson, Claypool. Freiermuth might be worth a start. He's a pretty reliable tight end. Might get a couple looks probably toward the end zone. And Pittsburgh defense, definitely start them. They smell blood, so they're definitely gonna go after Mac Jones for sure. After what they did to Joe Burrow last week, they're probably gonna maybe score twice as many sacks, twice as many interceptions. So the next game is going to be the Falcons and the Rams. So for the Falcons, they did pretty well last week against the Saints. They actually scored a lot more than everyone thought they would. But now they're playing against the reigning Super Bowl champions. So I wouldn't trust Mariota in this case. Neither any of the wide receivers, possibly Kyle Pitts, but they might double team him. Cordell Patterson, maybe they might stuff the line. So probably not worth picking starting any of those guys unless you're like maybe Cordell Patterson, a flex at the best. Falcons defense definitely not. For the Rams, Matt Stafford better bounce back this week, man. You're my quarterback in 2 leagues, so I think he's gonna definitely have a bounce back week. He's definitely gonna get Allen Robinson more involved. Of course, you got Cooper Kupp started. Go ahead, Higbee, Cam Akers, and Darrell Henderson are gonna both do better this week for sure. So, and the Rams defense, definitely pick them up, and if you have a chance, start them for sure. So they were pissed from last week. They're definitely gonna take it out on the Falcons for sure. Let's see. So the Bengals and the Cowboys are the next team. So Burrow actually brought his team to come back, almost tied it to possibly win it. So Burrow would start for sure. Jamar Chase. I'm not sure on T. Higgins. status if he's recovered from that concussion. But if you have Boyd, like myself, I'm definitely starting him for sure. I think in this game, the Bengals are definitely going to score a lot of points. You have Joe Mixon, start him up. I know I will. And start the Cincinnati defense because I don't think they're going to be going after a QB. I'm talking about Dallas here with Dak injured. I think they're going to just try to tough it up with Cooper Rush. So probably expect a lot of pressure on him. Um, After what I saw last week, I wouldn't start CeeDee Lamb, any of the wide receivers. I'm actually benching Ezekiel Elliott this week until I see otherwise. Now Dalton Schultz is an interesting one. He might be the one that they rely on if Lamb is covered, they can't get the run game going. He might be worth starting if you are kind of like desperate at the tight end position. And when it comes to the Dallas defense, no, I wouldn't start them. They're pretty good defense, but they're probably going to be on the field a lot due to the fact that the offense might not be able to score. So the next game is going to be the Texans and the Broncos. So the Texans actually showed a lot more grit than I thought they would. I thought they'd be just kind of a pushover team this year, but they actually showed a lot of grit against the Colts. So, but they're going against the Broncos this week in Denver. So I think Sam Mills is going to be tough for him. OJ Howard was a pleasant surprise, scoring 2 touchdowns. So he's probably worth a pick if you want to get him. I think they'll maybe Mills might target him a lot. Brandon Cooks, they might cover him really well. The run game might be stuff like with how Denver stopped Rashad Penny and the rest of the Seattle run game last week. So I think you probably got to take out Pierce and Burkhead out of the picture right there. So when it comes to the Denver side, I think Russell Wilson's going to look to get bounced back this week. I think he's going to do really well. So Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy definitely probably going to have bigger games this week. Same with the tight ends. So Javonte Williams, I think, is going to get the start over Melvin Gordon more. I think Melvin Gordon, I believe both of them fumbled, but I think Javonte Williams shows more, more progress than Melvin Gordon. But if you were leaning to one running back, I would definitely lean more toward Williams. And when it comes to the defense for the Broncos, definitely start them for sure. They're probably angry last week, so they're probably definitely taking on the Texans. If I didn't mention, don't start the Texans defense. So the next game after that is going to be the Cardinals and the Raiders. So this game might be a shootout as well. The Cardinals were pretty much embarrassed at home last week by Patrick Mahomes, so they're on the road this week, so expect Kyler Murray to throw it out. You got Hollywood Brown, no Hopkins yet, so definitely start Hollywood Brown. I would start Zach Ertz as well. James Conner, my boy, definitely start him. I would not start Cardinals defense after what happened last week, so until see them do better, we'll definitely leave them on the bench. So when it comes to the Raiders side, definitely start Derek Carr. I think they did okay last week against the Chargers, but this week they should probably do a little bit better since they're going to be at home. So start Derek Carr. Josh Jacobs is an interesting one now, so I'd say start him if you have him, but if you have a different option, then go with him. Waller is definitely a must start. Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, definitely start for sure. And when it comes to the Raider defense, no, do not start them. So the next game after that is going to be the Bears and the Packers. Bears got a good win at home, weather permitting. They played against the 49ers against Trey Lance in his first game. So it was kind of like a sloppy game, but I think the Bears are going to come back down to earth. I wouldn't recommend Justin Fields. He might be running around a lot. The wide receivers for the Bears probably wouldn't suggest starting them either. neither with the tight end Cole Kmet, and the defense definitely not for sure. So for the Packers, I think Aaron Rodgers is gonna try to figure things out, especially now they're back home. But I would start Aaron Rodgers if you have him. For the wide receivers, I do not know which option would be great to start because there's so many of them and the ball spread around too much. So very risque when it comes to the wide receivers. And I would I would probably give Robert Tonyan a start. He's probably the most reliable, probably been there the longest. So Tonyan for sure. When it comes to the Green Bay defense, now that's very interesting. I think that after what happened last week, they're probably going to take it on the Bears. They pretty much own the Bears for the last, know how many years. So definitely maybe worth a fly for sure if you need a streamer defense. Okay, so the last two games are going to be the Titans at the Bills. So I had Robert Woods last week. I think he only got like 2 points, and I don't know if he's still getting acclimated with Tennessee, but I wouldn't start Tannehill. I wouldn't start Woods. Henry, possibly. Of course, he's probably going to start every week, but it's going to be kind of tough if they don't move the ball by throwing it. So I wouldn't. I probably a flex, but Henry's just too good to bench. Tennessee defense definitely wouldn't start them. The Bills got to start everybody, right? So Josh Allen, Dawson Knox, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, McKenzie, and definitely start that Buffalo defense for sure. And the last game for this week is going to be the Vikings and the Eagles. So this game is probably going to be pretty high scoring as well, mid to high score game. So Kirk Cousins did pretty well last week. I would definitely say start him for sure. Justin Jefferson, no brainer, of course. Adam Thielen, I'm not sure. But if you have him, they're probably going to be throwing. It's going to be a back and forth game for sure. So definitely going to start Adam Thielen if you have him. Irv Smith, I'm not sure on that. I would trust the wide receivers more than tight end. Dalvin Cook, no brainer, definitely start them. Vikings defense, stay away, don't start them at all. And when it comes to the Eagles, I think the Eagles are actually a couple of starts we're starting this week. So Jalen Hurts, worth a start this week. Same with A.J. Brown. Probably the only wide receiver that I would suggest starting. Dallas Goedert, probably worth a start as well. I think they might use Miles Sanders and running back by committee, so that could be a tricky one. But if you have Miles Sanders, definitely worth starting him up for sure. And the Philadelphia defense, I wouldn't touch them. So let's go to some kickers. So I didn't address any of them, but I could tell you the kickers for sure that probably should start. So Tyler Bass, definitely probably going to score a lot of points this week if you have him. Justin Tucker, always no-brainer. Could definitely start him against the Dolphins. Harrison Butker, if he can play, then definitely start him. These guys are just must-starts. They, I would only suggest benching them only on a bye week or if they're injured. Daniel Carlson versus the Cardinals, he's pretty good. So, it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. Matt Gay against the Falcons. Like I said, they're looking to get back into the win column, so they're definitely going to be kicking the ball a lot more too. So Evan McPherson, he missed some critical kicks last week against the Steelers, so look for him to get back into his groove this week. Ryan Suckup, who helped me win last week, got about like 14, 15 points. Probably going to be bailing out Tom Brady in the offense if they can't get things going, but Ryan Suckup against the Cowboys for sure. Cade York against the Jets. So he kicked a 58-yarder the week before to help beat the Panthers. So definitely a streamer kicker for sure. I wouldn't pick him for a starter every week, but kickers are a dime a dozen. So you could definitely pick him for a streamer this week. Browns probably going to score a lot of points. So definitely worth a look for sure. And Last one would be Jake Elliott against the Vikings. So, like I said, it's going to be a high scoring game. He's probably going to get a lot of opportunities to kick. And then, yeah, so I wish you guys all good luck for week 2. Depending on what the situation is, I might shoot these videos either on a Tuesday or Wednesday night. I think it's easier to do a pick 'em like this every week instead of just going down the line and picking, each quarterback, each running back. I think so. I kind of like it this way better. That means I can cover more of the basis of all what players to start and get a better general idea of who you should play. So again, I wish you good luck for week 2, and tell me how you guys did after this. You guys watch this video, and after week 2, of course. And thanks for nerding out to our nonsense. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.